Hey y'all, and welcome to the kitchen. This is episode 1 of Shortcut Suppers. This is the lesson on chicken stir-fry lo mein. First things first, we are going to fill our big pot full of water so we can get our pasta boiling for our lo mein. And now I'm going to fill this pasta and leave a couple of inches to the top before it reaches there with the water, because I don't want, when it boils, I don't want it to overflow. So I'm going to fill this up with water, and then I'm going to put it on my heat on high. And to get it to come up to a boil as quickly as possible, I'm going to put my lid on, and that just traps the heat inside and it lets it boil quicker. You're going to want to remember that for future reference. Okay, we got about a full pot, just a couple inches from the top. High heat, lid on. And the faster that comes to a boil, the faster we can move on. So we are going to want that to come up as quick as possible. The rest of this meal is going to go so quickly, it's going to happen while that pasta is boiling. So the next thing we're going to do is talk about our feature ingredient is our chicken. Our rotisserie chicken in the freezer section is our shortcut ingredient today. And I just wanted to share with you how awesome these shortcut chicken options are. A lot of times we can get the options in the freezer section that are prepped and cooked for us, or either prepped and we just have to do the cooking portion and it's already seasoned or whatnot, and it's as inexpensive as the chicken that's raw and nobody has done any work. So would you rather have a whole chicken on a daily basis, we're talking weeknight here, a whole chicken that you need to break down and cook and shred and all that kind of stuff, or would you want that work done for you for the same price? There are some good shortcut options out there, y'all. And so check out that chicken department in your freezer section. Or another recipe option for you there with a shortcut is the rotisserie in the refrigerator or the warm food section. They also have those whole chickens that are easy peasy just to pull apart, ready for you. Those are only between $6 and $9 to $10 depending on where you get them and what time you get them. Later in the day they start to mark them down. So just a FYI, that's a fun fact. Anyway, so our rotisserie chicken that's been prepared for us is our shortcut ingredient. And my veggies today are going to be some zucchini and some yellow squash. And the reason I have these is that it's in season and they're super easy for me to quickly just chop up and get in to our saute pan. And our squashes cook super fast too. You could easily right here just grab a bag of frozen vegetables and do like the frozen stir-fry veg in your pan. My recommendation for using frozen vegetables is don't thaw them in the microwave, but bring them out about 30 minutes before you want to use them, if you have time. Not the end of the world if you don't. And I'm only using one zucchini here. I've got three total, so there's 2 more in that bag for another meal. But we are going to use, when we use frozen vegetables, you can take them and like sort them out on a sheet tray and sort of let them lose some of their ice before you put them into your pan. So you want to just leave all that extra cold and moisture behind. So just sit them out, let them shake a little bit, all the ice off, and then you can pick them up off your sheet pan and put them into the heat, and they'll cook up faster and have a better crust on the outside. So I'm going to chop my zucchini about, I'd say, in little, almost chiclet size pieces. This looks like those little chiclet chewing gums back from when I was a kid. If you're an 80s baby, you know all about those. I had a friend that even had like chiclet looking earrings back then. We always used to laugh. It was like, you have chewing gum earrings? Anyway, so we're doing like chiclet size pieces of zucchini, and we want to do the same size with all of our vegetables, because when we put them in the pan they're going to cook evenly, and you just want everything to go seamlessly at the same time, and you don't want to worry about one thing burning or turn into mush while the other things are still raw in your pan. So we're going to go with easy quick cooking vegetables in this recipe, but we're also going to cut them in all the same size, so that work is already done for us as far as the timing goes. Okay, so I'm going to bang out the rest of this. And as you notice, when I chop my veggies, these have been washed, just by the way. When I get the groceries from the delivery, or if I get home from the grocery store, anything like this gets washed as soon as I get home, because that takes less off of my prep time when I'm ready to cook dinner. We're going to take one of these squash, and what I was saying is, if you'll notice, I curl my fingers in on my non-knife hand so that when I bang through my vegetables really quick, even if I get a little too close, I'm not going to get the end of my fingers. I'll just get close. And no cuts. So I'm going to go through that 3 times, and if you leave it stacked like that, 1 cut equals 3. So we're going to go through it long ways and then back across and do them the same size as your zucchini. Okay, we're going to bang these in. And the rocking motion that you see me using my knife just gives me some more control. If you see me people pick up and chop like that, they don't have nearly as much control on their knife hand as you could if you did that rocking, like the motion of a rocking boat in the ocean, that kind of thing. So I've got all my veg here chopped up. My last thing is a shortcut for sure that I love having on hand because it keeps me from crying. And I don't always cry because I'm super quick now, but there are certain onions that are fresh, y'all. And when they are fresh like that, it doesn't matter how fast you are, you're gonna cry. So anyway, my pot is about up to a boil here. It's starting to bubble, so we're just gonna watch it real close so it's ready for our pasta in a minute. Then my saucepan, I'm going to go ahead and show this size to you. This is a little bigger than my head. This is a regular size saucepan. It doesn't have a handle because of the kind of handles that I have, the kind of pots that I have. They have retractable handles. So when I go to use them, that's the way I do it. Anyway, you'll wonder about why my handles don't have pots don't have handles. That's why. So anyway, this is a regular saucepan. If you have a wok, this is a great opportunity to use it because the hot heat in the bottom of the wok is hard to duplicate, but at the same time, this surface area is big enough to where if you have your eye on really hot, it's going to do the trick. So we're going to get first things first. We're going to get our pan heating, and I'm going to get some neutral flavored oil in my pan. And neutral flavored oil just means something that is not going to overtake the rest of your dish. This is not the time to use a fancy fruity olive oil. This is the time to use something like a canola or a veggie oil. I like to use avocado oil in this preparation because it's super good for you, but it's also very light. And if you'll notice, the lighter in color, especially when you're talking olive oils, the lighter in color, the more neutral the flavor is. So anyway, avocado oil, healthy, really good choice. And if you can find it in the glass bottle, that's the best case scenario. So we've got our heat on here. I'm gonna turn this to high. I actually turned on the wrong one, so I had to switch eyes. We're gonna put in a couple of tablespoons of the avocado oil right there. And then I'm gonna start with my chicken first. It's gonna take the longest, even though it's already cooked. Because it's frozen, it's gonna take a little while to get that caramelization on the outside, and then in the inside, it's gonna have to thaw and warm through. So it'll probably take about 4 minutes. And that does not sound like long. It's not. It just takes longer than everything else. We don't want to crowd our pan either. So I'm going to put my chicken in first. And more or less, I'm using about, I would say, about 1.5 pounds of chicken. I'm going to cover the bottom of this pan with it. And that's a good way to say, okay, I've got enough for my family of 4. If the bottom of this pan is covered, you want about 4 to 6 ounces per person in a preparation like this. So this is about how much you can see. How much is in the pan. If I had to guess, like I said, somewhere around 2 pounds, but you want about 4 to 6 ounces of chicken protein in your dish for each person. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, now that I have banged out all of my preparation for my vegetables, we're going to take our lid off and we're going to get our pasta into our pot. Now today I have some thin spaghetti, and this thin spaghetti is the best choice, I believe, for making lo mein at home, and here is why. Regular spaghetti for me is a little bit bigger than I want it to be, and angel hair is a tad bit smaller. The angel hair tends to gum up and get very gooey and mushy and stuck together if you cook it too much. So this thin spaghetti just is a perfect amount of pasta thickness to hold up to the cooking process of doing a boil and then tossing it in sauce. The thick spaghetti, regular spaghetti works. It just takes a little longer in the cooking process, and we're trying to do a shortcut here. So, okay, when you do this, this is a 2 pound box, so I'm only going to use half. I'm going to cook 1 pound of pasta. So my hand has like my fingers meeting You can see that. About that much pasta is a pound. You can just look in the pot and it's half. We're gonna salt our pasta water. Always, always salt your pasta water. This is the only chance that you have to get seasoning into your actual noodle. So let's take the time to do that now. We got a rolling boil going, y'all. All right, we're gonna get our pasta in. We're gonna cook this just a little bit under. We want it to have a little chew left to it, a little al dente, as the Italians would say. Because you're going to toss it with everything and have a yummy sauce that's yummy, like sriracha and soy sauce and some garlic in there, and you want there to be extra room within the pasta for your sauce to get absorbed. So just undercook it by about a minute or two. So our pasta is in. I'm going to grab my tongs. We're just going to get our pasta all in the water. I think I'm going to go ahead and move my chicken around a little bit and then cover this guy up so it can be doing its thing and the chicken can be getting all warm on the inside a little bit faster. So let's move these guys around. Oh yeah, see, they're already starting to get some yummy color. They had a little color on them, but not too much. See how yummy that color is right here? Let's see if I can get it turned over so you can see it. That's so yummy. That's happy cooking. Okay, we're gonna flip this lid this way, put it on the top. Now you don't want to put a lid on top of your pasta because the starches inside the noodle actually are getting released into the water. And if you cover it, it will make your pasta pot overflow and make a huge mess on your stove. So big tip, once your water is boiling, anytime you have any kind of starch in there, once your water is boiling, if you're keeping your heat on, you have to keep your lid off or mostly off. If you're hurrying something like potatoes along and you want to kind of do like a half cover, you can do that. I just wouldn't, especially with pasta as steady as the boil is, as heavy as the bubble, I just wouldn't cover up a pasta pot. You're going to get a couple of splatters here and there anyway, that way. With heavy boil. Actually, I'm going to turn this, now that it's heavy boiling enough, I'm going to turn it down a little notch. Now that's going to cook about, I'd say, another 6 to 7 minutes. And we're going to make our sauce for our stir fry. So what I'm going to do is grab a little bowl. Let me see. I want to grab a bowl out of this cabinet. Aren't these little bowls so sweet? This kitchen that I'm in right now, this is our secondary kitchen. It's on a wing of our house that we have visitors, and when our big boys are home, they stay in. But the dishes down here, I want to hold it closer. These dishes are our wedding dishes from when we got married 21 years ago. So these little bowls are super special to us. You'll see me using them when I'm taste testing all our stuff here. So anyway, we have a few ingredients. We have some soy sauce, some sriracha, and then I want to talk to you a minute about teriyaki sauce. All teriyaki sauce is not created equal. We also have some garlic that we're going to put in here. All teriyaki sauce is not created equal, and here's why. There are some teriyaki sauces that have this thin consistency, like soy sauce. Those teriyaki sauces are great marinades, and they can go on the meat before they've been cooked. This kind of teriyaki sauce, I don't know if you can hear it, it's thick. It's almost like syrupy. So anytime that you have a syrupy, sugar-based teriyaki sauce or barbecue sauce, it's really a sauce of any kind, you want to baste in that, but you're not going to cook out of the gate with that from start to finish on your meat because it's going to burn. Anytime that you put that sugary substance onto heat, whether it be the grill or the stove, the outside will burn before the inside cooks. So as long as you just baste in the last few minutes of cooking, this kind of teriyaki sauce is good. Or like in this, the stir fry, the lo mein, you toss it in at the end to coat, but we're not putting it on the meat and then putting it directly on heat and trying to cook meat through. That's the difference you want to look at in these sauces. I'm going to pull out our chicken here. It's smelling so good. Super browned and yummy on the inside, outside, nice and warmed through on the inside. And then in this same pan, because all that flavor from my chicken is in there, I'm going to add a little bit more oil, and all of my veggies are going to cook in here. Before long, everything that we've cooked today is going to be down in the bottom of this pot. Okay, so my veggies are going in. Let me get my big handful. I need to add a little bit more oil. Forgot about that part. And I probably won't add quite as much this time. A tablespoon should be fine. There's a little bit left in the bottom for the first time cooking through. All right. And if you notice, when you're multitasking in the kitchen to get everything done at the same time, sometimes you have to jump around a little bit. That's a key piece to get used to when you're doing a shortcut or a quick dinner. The more you do it, the easier it'll get. Okay, so I'm going to take my onions, and this is probably the equivalent of one whole onion. So I'm going to take about half of this bag. All right, well, I am going to zhuzh around my, you like that word, zhuzh? We're going to zhuzh around my veggies, turn the heat way back up, because you want them to get nice and caramelized on the outside too. And then we're going to finish our sauce before we start seasoning that veggie. Okay, so back to our sauce. Right now in here we have about 1/4 cup of soy sauce. The next thing that we're going to add is a good tablespoon of sriracha. Now this is a shortcut supper for adults that like a mild heat. You can add as much as you like. My kids even like this. So if you have a very sensitive child or a very sensitive palate yourself, you can kill back to about 1/2 tablespoon. But sriracha is a very flavorful hot sauce. It does not have a ton of heat. It's more about the balance of garlic and spices than it is about the actual heat. So we're going to take our base right here, and we're going to add a little bit more garlic. There was a little bit in that flavoring from the hot sauce, but we're going to add a little bit more garlic. And right here I'm going to show you a trick. The palm of your hand is about a tablespoon. I used 1/2 palm of my hand, so that's about 1/2 tablespoon, roughly a teaspoon, no big deal. But that's garlic powder. So we have soy sauce, that's 1/4 cup, about a tablespoon of sriracha, and 1 teaspoon or 1/2 tablespoon of garlic powder. And then I've got this teriyaki sauce. It's going to make up about half of our marinade, but like I said, you don't want to go heavy on this because it could burn if you use all the sugary stuff. So I'm going to use about, I would say, a little over 1/4 cup, maybe about 1/3 cup of teriyaki sauce, and this is enough for our whole dish. And then we're going to give this a little mix together. And once everything's done, our vegetables and our chicken is tossed together with our noodles, then this is going to go over the top right before we eat it, and it's going to soak up into all that yummy goodness and sort of just marinate everything. Okay, so that's ready. Wipe my hands off real quick. I got a little, I can feel the garlic powder on there just a little bit. Okay, we're going to turn our heat up, and I'm going to stir our noodles too. Let me grab my tongs again. Where did I put those little tongs? Here they are. All right. Now our noodles are actually already starting to look really good. So I'm going to take an opportunity to drain those, get them out, and then we're going to put this whole meal together right after this. Hey y'all, welcome back. I am going to drain our pasta real quick. I wanted to just show you real quick. I'm taking this pasta pot to my sink. I've got the lid, I put it back on it because the heat's off. But these little lids have an opening, so I don't even have to get a strainer dirty. That is super exciting for me. So I'm gonna just drain the water off. And I got an actual, like, I'll show you, coffee cup worth of pasta water right here before I'm draining my pasta. I got it out. So I could keep it to make sure I have enough liquid in my sauce when it's time to go at the end. Okay, I'm just draining my pasta. Okay, now I'm going to set it off to the side right there until we come back. Now my rotisserie chicken is a little bit bigger than I wanted to give to my girls all at one time. So while I am letting my veggies get Just happy. I need to actually turn them off in the pan. We are going to chop these things up just with a couple pairs of scissors. I could throw them on my cutting board and bang through them real quick, but kitchen scissors are super handy. I've actually started using them more in the last few years just because it's funny. The girls are a little bit particular about shapes and sizes of things. Who knew girls could be so much different than boys? I guess everybody but me. Now I have girls and I know. But they're particular about the shapes and sizes of things. So anyway, there goes our chicken. For the girls' sake, it's smaller now. Okay, I missed one. I'm going to put all my chicken back in. I'm going to cut this guy up that I missed. And I'm not really cutting him up small. I'm just kind of getting 1-inch chunks or so. So my chicken went back in. My pasta pot, I'm going to grab a towel just in case it's still hot. All of my noodles are right here. And take my trusty dusty tongs. Mix these around a little bit before my noodles go. And you want to make sure that you're cooking your vegetables under instead of over. Because if you think your vegetables are not quite done, they're still going to cook a little longer in this pan. And once they actually finish the process, they will be perfectly cooked. So we're coming with my noodles. Oh, y'all, this is so yummy. I don't know, but I think we're like less than 20 minutes by a long shot here. Okay, in our noodles go. All right, it's a couple overboard, no big deal. I didn't want to drain her out too because I didn't want to dirty another dish. Okay, so we've got our yummy pot of everything right here. I've got to show you guys how yummy and delicious. This is a full pot of food. Okay. So we can show you everything in real time. I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to take my sauce so you can see how glorious that is. Oh, y'all, yummy. The second that sauce hits this heat, it smells insane in here. Insane. That sauce is delicious. Tossing everything together. You can see the little bit of garlic and red pepper flakes in here, adding some yummy color. I'm going to get this back on the heat for another minute, and I'm not cooking anything at this point. We're heating it through, and we want that sauce to marry the flavor onto the pasta and sort of attach it to itself like saran wrap would a dish. You know, that's how flavor gets on a noodle, like saran wrap. I don't know. I spend way too much time in this kitchen. Okay, back on the heat. All right, and we're going to do this for about a minute, and then I'm going to plate that bad boy up and show you how good it is. Okay, we had a little chicken overboard. Get me a plate while I'm waiting. This chicken lo mein will make your takeout delivery guy think that you have moved on because it tastes so good. I think I'm going to check it. I just forgot to see if I needed this in here. I don't know that I do. You know what? You can't go back and get it out of the drain. So it's a good thing I got it. I don't need it, but it's a good thing I got it today. Okay. So yeah, I don't need extra sauce. This looks super perfect. The great thing about doing your Asian and all kinds of stuff at home is you don't have that abundance of mystery ingredients in it that make you feel like, ugh, when you're done eating your takeout. We really finished this in the amount of time that it took for me to cook that pasta, y'all. If that's not a miracle dinner, I don't know what is. And if you coat vegetables in soy sauce and sriracha and garlic and teriyaki, I don't know who wouldn't be excited to eat it. All right, y'all, here is the final product. Doesn't that look so yummy? Chicken stir fry lo mein. It is so yummy. Not sure which one you'll choose, but this one might just be dinner tonight. Happy cooking, y'all. See you next time.